buried moon. Long ago, in my grandmother's time, the Carland was all in bogs, great pools of black water, and creeping trickles of green water, and squishy moles which squirted when you stepped on them. Well, Granny used to say how long before her time the moon herself was once dead and buried in the marshes, and as she used to tell me, I'll tell you all about it. The moon up yonder shone and shone, just as she does now, and when she shone she lighted up the bog pools, so that one could walk about almost as safe as in the day. But when she didn't shine, out came the things that dwelt in the darkness and went about seeking to do evil and harm. Bogles and crawling horrors, all came out when the moon didn't shine. Well, the moon heard of this, and being kind of good, as she surely is, shining for us in the night instead of taking her natural rest, she was main troubled. I'll see for myself, I will, said she. Maybe it's not so bad as folks make out. Sure enough, at the month's end down she stepped, wrapped up in a black cloak, and a black hood over her yellow shining hair. Straight she went to the bog edge and looked about her, water here and water there, waving tussocks and trembling moles, and great black snags all twisted and bent. Before her all was dark, dark but for the glimmer of the stars in the pools, and the light that came from her own white feet, stealing out of her black cloak. The moon drew her cloak faster about and trembled, but she wouldn't go back without seeing all there was to be seen, so on she went, stepping as light as the wind in the summer from tuft to tuft between the greedy gurgling water holes. Just as she came near a big black pool her foot slipped and she was nigh tumbling in. She grabbed with both hands at a snag nearby to steady herself with, but as she touched it, it twined itself round her wrists, like a pair of handcuffs, and gripped her so that she couldn't move. She pulled and twisted and fought, but it was no good. She was fast, and must stay fast. Presently as she stood trembling in the dark, wondering if help would come, she heard something calling in the distance, calling, calling, and then dying away with a sob, till the marshes were full of this pitiful crying sound. Then she heard steps floundering along, squishing in the mud and slipping on the tufts, and through the darkness she saw a white face with great feared eyes. 'Twas a man straight in the bogs. Mazed with fear he struggled on toward the flickering light that looked like help and safety, and when the poor moon saw that he was coming nigher and nigher to the deep hole, further and further from the path, she was so mad and so sorry that she struggled and fought and pulled harder than ever, and though she couldn't get loose, she twisted and churned, till her black hood fell back off her shining yellow hair, and the beautiful light that came from it drove away the darkness. Oh, but the man cried with joy to see the light again, and at once all evil things fled back into the dark corners, for they cannot abide the light. So he could see where he was, and where the path was, and how he could get out of the marsh, and he was in such haste to get away from the quicks, and bogles and things that dwelt there, that he scarce looked at the brave light that came from the beautiful shining yellow hair, streaming out over the black cloak and falling to the water at his feet. And the moon herself was so taken up with saving him, and with rejoicing that he was back on the right path, that she clean forgot that she needed help herself, and that she was held fast by the black snag. So off he went, spinning, gasping, and stumbling and sobbing with joy, flying for his life out of the terrible bogs. Then it came over the moon, she would main like to go with him, so she pulled and fought as if she were mad, till she fell on her knees, spent with tugging, at the foot of the snag, and as she lay there, gasping for breath, the black hood fell forward over her head, so out went the bliss light and back came the darkness, with all its evil things. With a screech and a howl, they came crowding round her, mocking and snatching and beating, shrieking with rage and spite, and swearing and snarling, for they knew her for their old enemy, that drove them back into the corners, and kept them from working their wicked wills. "Try thee," yelled the witch bodies, "thou oo's spoiled our spells this year agone, and doth